In this video, we're going to cover the installation of updates for Exchange Server 2013 when you have a HA deployment. Now, as I'm recording this video, Microsoft has just released Cumulative Update 5 for Exchange Server 2013, which comes after Exchange 2013 Service Pack 1. So depending on when you've gone through the earlier bootcamp lessons, you may be running an earlier version of Exchange or a later version of Exchange than what I'll be demonstrating in this video. But this lesson applies to any update for Exchange, whether it be a cumulative update or a service pack, or whether you're just performing other maintenance tasks on your servers, such as installing Windows server patches, drivers, firmware updates, anything like that. And basically the goal here is to perform our server maintenance in our HA deployment without interrupting service. After all, that is the entire point of having a HA deployment, that you're able to perform this sort of maintenance, whether that's inside of business hours or outside of business hours, without actually interrupting service for your end users. There are a few preparation steps involved. Of course, you want to download the cumulative update or the service pack from Microsoft. You should only download those from Microsoft. You should not download those from third-party websites. You want to confirm that your backups of Active Directory and Exchange have been working. Some of the changes that occur when you deploy a CU or a service pack are not reversible without restoring from backup. And you'll also want to document any customizations or third-party integrations for your server. So for example, if you've done some customizations to the Outlook Web Access or Outlook Web App logon pages, or you've got third-party integrations such as antivirus or anti-spam software, email disclaimer software, or if you've done link integration, those sort of things you'll need to document and make sure you're able to reapply them after the updates, because the update process will actually overwrite those customizations in a lot of cases. When you're deploying Exchange Server 2013 updates, there is a specific deployment order that you should follow. Now, if you've deployed standalone server roles, in other words, you've deployed your client access servers and your mailbox servers on separate servers instead of together, then you should update your mailbox servers first and your client access servers second. You may also be wondering about edge transport servers. They can be updated last. For multi-role servers, you can update your servers in any order, but if you have a distributed Exchange organization, you should always deploy in the internet-facing site first. Now, for database availability groups, of course, you can be running different CU and service pack levels of Exchange for short periods of time amongst those DAG members, because obviously you can't upgrade them all at once. You'll be upgrading them one at a time. So it is supported to have them at different product levels for short periods of time, but it is recommended that you only do that for short periods and you plan to deploy to the same build across your entire DAG within a reasonably short period of time. And finally, just some deployment tips or possibly warnings. When you're running the update, you should always run setup from an elevated command prompt. Do not run it from PowerShell or the Exchange Management Shell, because that will cause you to have some file locks that will result in setup failing. It is recommended in Knowledge Base Article 981474 that you set your PowerShell execution policy to unrestricted on the servers. So follow that Knowledge Base article for exact steps there. After you've prepared the server for deployment, it is recommended that you actually restart it once so that it clears any pending restart operations. Exchange setup will often fail if it detects that there's some other operation that is pending a restart on the server. You should be aware that each CU or service pack is a full build of the product. Now, this works in your favor in some ways. You can install the latest version of Exchange Server 2013, no matter which version you're already running. So for example, if you're on Cumulative Update 2 and Cumulative Update 5 has been released, you can install directly to Cumulative Update 5 without having to install all of the intervening CUs and service packs between them. However, what this also means that if setup is interrupted or it fails for some reason, that a full server recovery might be required. And you cannot install a CU or a service pack. If you do that, it will actually uninstall Exchange. You cannot uninstall a CU or service pack. If you try to do that through add remove programs, it will actually completely uninstall Exchange from the server. Now, also be aware that each CU or service pack usually contains an AD schema update. In fact, every one of them has contained an AD schema update so far. We're at Cumulative Update 5 right now. You should always take that into consideration with your planning and the permissions that you run setup with, or plan to apply those schema updates separately before you update your servers. After you've finished updating your servers, it's recommended that you reapply any customizations or third-party integrations that you documented during your preparation steps before you place the servers back into production. And of course, the final tip is that you should always test. Microsoft does do a lot of testing on these builds before they release them to the public, but as we've seen throughout the release history of Exchange Server 2013, sometimes there are bugs or unexpected conditions in customer environments, and we see a few problems as a result. So you should always test each new version as best you can for your unique environment before you deploy to production.